4 years ago, my husband and I desperately needed a break. It was the early days of the pandemic, and we were drowning in the beautiful chaos of parenting a toddler. We craved silence, space, and a reminder of who we were outside of being mom and dad. For our anniversary, we planned an escape to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a place known for its rugged, untamed beauty. The plan was simple, part adventure, part relaxation. First up, kayak camping on Grand Island, a stone's throw from the iconic Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. We imagined ourselves as seasoned adventurers, reconnecting with nature and each other. The start of the trip felt like a scene straight out of a travel magazine. We launched our kayaks from the mainland into the calm turquoise waters of Lake Superior. The air was crisp, the sun was warm on our faces, and the sense of freedom was intoxicating. Paddling along the shore, we were dwarfed by the magnificent, mineral-stained cliffs of Pictured Rocks. Hues of red, orange, and green painted the sandstone, sculpted by centuries of wind and water. We felt small, but in a good way humbled by the sheer scale and artistry of nature. That first day was pure magic. We found a secluded beach, pulled our kayaks ashore, and set up our tent just as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery colors. As darkness settled in, a deep, primal quiet fell over the island. We built a crackling campfire, its warmth pushing back the cool night air, and then we heard it. A sound that sent a shiver down my spine, not of fear, but of awe. The long, haunting howl of a wolf, answered by another, then another, echoing through the dense forest behind us. We sat there in silence, listening to the island's wild inhabitants, feeling like the only two people in the world. It was perfect. We were confident, capable, and completely in our element. The next morning, we woke up feeling refreshed and ready for more. We spent the day exploring hidden coves and marveling at the dramatic coastline from the unique perspective of our kayaks. We felt strong, our paddle strokes in sync, gliding effortlessly across the water. We had this. We were expert kayakers now, or so we thought. That afternoon, as we started thinking about heading back to our campsite for the night, we looked at the map. We'd taken a long, scenic route along the coast on the way out. For the return journey, a shorter, more direct path across a stretch of open water looked tempting. It would cut our travel time significantly. "It's a straight shot," my husband said, pointing across the bay. "We can handle it," I agreed without a second thought. Our confidence, bloated by the perfect first day, had morphed into a dangerous overeagerness. We completely, utterly underestimated Lake Superior. The Great Lakes, as we were about to learn, can behave more like inland oceans than placid lakes. The moment our kayaks left the protective shelter of the coastline, the character of the water began to change. The gentle lapping we were used to started to swell into organized rolling waves. At first, it was exciting, a little challenge. We laughed as the spray hit our faces. But the wind was picking up, a steady, insistent force pushing against us. The sky, once a brilliant blue, began to take on a grayish, ominous tone. The waves grew higher and higher. Soon, they were no longer playful swells, but formidable walls of dark, cold water. Our small kayaks, which had felt so stable near the shore, were now being tossed around like bath toys. With every wave that crashed over the bow, icy water pulled around our legs, seeping through our gear, chilling us to the bone. We paddled harder, trying to power through it, but it felt like we were on a treadmill. I'd look back at the distant shoreline we'd left, then forward at the island, and the perspective barely changed. We were making almost no progress. Panic began to creep in, a cold knot tightening in my stomach. The laughter had long since died, replaced by strained, shouted words of encouragement that felt hollow against the roar of the wind. My arms started to burn, each paddle stroke an act of sheer will. It felt like I was trying to push against a solid wall. My muscles screamed in protest. Every time I lifted the paddle, the wind would catch it, trying to rip it from my grasp. The physical exhaustion was immense, but the mental toll was worse. The vastness of the lake, which had felt so liberating just a day before, now felt menacing and infinite. We were two tiny specks in a turbulent, indifferent expanse of gray. The sun began to sink lower, and the reality of our situation crashed down on us with the force of a rogue wave. We were in serious trouble. We'd been paddling for hours, and we were still so far from shore. The cold had seeped deep into my body. I couldn't stop shivering. My hands were numb, clumsy claws barely able to grip the paddle. Hypothermia was no longer a distant threat. It was a present reality. Fear gave way to a terrifying, primal desperation. We had to get to land, any land. I could see my husband struggling just as much, his face a mask of exhaustion and grim determination. The easy confidence from the morning was a bitter memory. We had been so foolish, so arrogant. We had put ourselves in this position. The thought of our toddler back home, safe with his grandparents, flashed through my mind. It was a jolt of pure terror. What if we didn't make it back? What if this stupid, arrogant decision was our last? That thought fueled a new surge of adrenaline. We couldn't give up. We just couldn't. We paddled with a grim, mechanical rhythm. Stroke, brace. Don't look at how far you have to go. Just focus on the next stroke. Time lost all meaning. It was just the burn in our muscles, the biting cold, the roar of the water, and the terror in our hearts. Just when I felt like I couldn't lift my arms one more time, when my vision was starting to blur at the edges from sheer exhaustion, I saw it. Through the misty twilight, a dark, solid shape against the darkening sky, the silhouette of the island. It was still horrifyingly far away, but it was there. It was real. Seeing it was like a shot of pure hope. We weren't paddling into an endless void anymore. We had a target. We aimed for the nearest point of land and paddled with everything we had left. It was the longest, most grueling final push of my life. After what felt like another lifetime, but was probably another hour, the bottom of my kayak scraped against sand and rock. I'd never felt such profound relief. I practically fell out of the kayak, my legs buckling underneath me. I couldn't stand. I just crawled onto the beach, the cold, wet sand, feeling like the most solid, wonderful thing in the universe. We had made it. We were on solid ground. We were alive. We lay on the beach for a few minutes, completely spent, shaking uncontrollably. We were drenched, frozen, and utterly broken. We helped each other stumble towards our campsite, our movements clumsy and slow. Every muscle ached. Getting a fire started with numb, shaking hands felt like a monumental task, but we knew we had to. We needed warmth desperately. We stripped off our wet clothes, wrapped ourselves in every dry blanket and sleeping bag we had, and huddled next to the sputtering flames. As the fire grew, chasing away the shadows and slowly, painfully pushing the deep chill from our bones, the full weight of what had just happened settled in. We sat there, not speaking, just watching the flames dance, listening to the still angry lake churning just feet away. We had been so incredibly stupid. Our arrogance had nearly cost us everything. We had looked at one of the most powerful forces of nature and thought we could outsmart it, thought we could take a shortcut. Lake Superior had taught us a brutal, unforgettable lesson. The rest of the trip is a blur. The next day, we packed up in humbled silence and took the longest, most cautious route along the shoreline back to the mainland. Every small wave made my heart pound. We had developed a form of kayak PTSD. That experience changed us. It stripped away our pride and replaced it with a profound, deep-seated respect for the wild. Nature isn't just a beautiful backdrop for our adventures. It's a powerful, unpredictable force that demands humility. We survived, but it's a story we tell not with bravado, but with a lingering shudder of fear and a heavy dose of gratitude. It's the story of our anniversary, the one where we almost didn't make it to the next one, and the one that taught us that sometimes the greatest adventure is knowing when to turn back. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this intense memory with you. If you've ever had a humbling experience with nature, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more. Stay safe out there.